When I hear people talk about the next Pokemon gen, they mostly focus a lot on the next region and types of Pokemon likely to be seen. However, I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to be focusing more on Team Star's founder, Penny, a character that I feel to be very underrated and someone who seems to be hiding a lot about herself throughout the story. I know this seems to be a little unrealistic, but I'm also going to be covering things about Area Zero that I think a lot of people will probably not even think about when they went through the story. So please bear with me here and let's get started with this. So when everyone learned that Penny was originally from Galar, I noticed many theories about her father and who he could possibly be. But I instead wondered why he even sent her to the Paldea in the first place, and I began to wonder if he could be involved in the Eternatus incident. Eternatus was reawakened in Galar to be used as a power source said to last forever. But now when I think about the new region Paldea, we are given translation crystals, which are supposedly another power source. And noting that we have seen and spread this information throughout Paldea, I think some people at Galar might hear about these rumors and might want to try to harness this power for their own region. I know Eternatus failed, but still, it's not too hard to make it to the crater since 4 kids managed to do it by themselves. The perfect reason why they would be confident enough to go down there themselves. But of course, they wouldn't just go down there without any precautions of the dangerous Pokemon mentioned there. So I think they'll figure out the existence of the Scarlet or Violet book and use it as a guidebook on their expedition. This book was mostly discarded 200 years ago due to people not believing in Heath's adventure. However, some copies still might be possibly found in libraries and schools. Plus, the book still holds its value to give headers about the dangers of Area Zero. So, if they do decide to go all the way down to the crater in Area Zero, they will find the time machine. And something to know about the time machine is, we never destroyed it. We only stopped it. So if they were to find the time machine down in the depths of Area Zero, totally abandoned with all Saldar and Toro's research, they may try to reactivate to see what benefits they can make out of the machine. This can lead to problems later on. Now there's someone else that I think will make an entrance towards the crater later on, the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. You see, the last time I heard lore about Mewtwo was in the Pokemon anime where Ash and Goth were fighting him. And spoiler alert, they lost. But even after their loss, they still gained trust for Mewtwo and the Pokemon that were witnessing the battle. Ash and Goth then learned that Mewtwo rescues Pokemon who are hurt and wounded from other trainers. Now, just hearing that part makes you wonder if Mewtwo will make an entrance towards the crater. There were Pokemon actually getting hurt out there for the Paradox Pokemon, and looking at the location and tech used by the professors, it seems likely for him to make an appearance at some point. But re-adding Mewtwo into a new generation would just be lame, because he's already in so many other games. So, I began to look more into Terrestrialization. Terrestrialization is injected into Pokemon to change their move power and type. But what if it could be injected differently? You see, I found that Paradox Pokemon actually had been seen even before the time machine was even built, which was spotted by one of the researchers in Heath's book. This little piece of evidence might mean that some of those Paradox Pokemon we've been seeing might not even be from the time machine and were actually just Pokemon that took Terrestrialization a different route, a form that makes more for the past or future. So I don't just see Mewtwo being part of this, but Shadow Mewtwo also making a new appearance in the new generation. Shadow Mewtwo was originally transformed due to observing the Shadow Synergy crystal while protecting in a Pokemon tournament. This led him to transform into something that took control of his own free will. And I would believe if Mewtwo were to use Terrestrialization to form into Shadow Mewtwo, he would be forced to try to achieve something super powerful by taking all the energy of the Terra crystals throughout the world. The reason I know he would try to do this is because in the Scarlet and Violet book, Heath mentions his discovery of the mystical herbs he found in Area Zero that could be used to power Pokemon, making them stronger. The only thing is when we look for the herbs in Averen, they were scattered all over Paldea. This possibly means that Terra energy is pretty much everywhere we go, and why we're able to fight so many strong Pokemon with priesthood Terra types throughout the region. Terra crystals are still a huge mystery to the Pokemon universe, and even though we can use them for battle, that doesn't fully mean that they are safe for everyone to use. So like I said in the beginning, I've been reviewing Penny's character for a long time. Probably too long to be honest. But the reason I kept making so much facts and theories off of her was because I felt something different about her that separates her from the rest of the main characters. And because of this, I looked a lot into her story, and I think I found something that possibly is a mistake in her character arc. And that tiny mistake Pokemon made is forgetting to choose her place within Team Star. In case you weren't paying attention, Team Star is made of 5 different bases, each with their own name and specialty. And this is a big thing to note, because when Penny was talking to Clamel, she mentions that she wants to take part in the SDCs, which of course makes sense, but throughout the story, she never specifies or shows how she will play a part in the new and improved Team Star. She is more just binging on a computer and hanging out with our evolutions. However, there will probably be a time where Penny will need to choose what she's going to do about the SDCs, and this is where I believe pressure can build up for her about making a decision on where she's going to go. Penny has to choose out of her 5 friends where she's going to go, and making that choice could be hard since all her friends would probably want her to be in their group. So I think due to the amount of pressure she was getting, she decided to get away from it all for a while, and revisits Area Zero to get things off her mind. The reason I think she would do this instead of just chill in a room or go somewhere else is due to somehow getting a sense of comfort somewhere down in Area Zero. In case you don't remember, there was a split with the professor's research base when Nemona noticed some of the Paradox Pokemon were running away. She wanted to keep the pressure on them, so she leaves the group to go after them and drags Penny along with her to defeat them. Now at this point, the scene is kind of left out of the picture, and we don't really follow them. But I think there was something that might have happened that wasn't shown. And what I think happened is that Penny learned something about the Paradox Pokemon that we do not. Now listen to this. If Paradox Pokemon were really monsters, they probably would always be causing destruction to other species in their environment. However, when we were measuring the depths of Area Zero, we noticed there were other species living alongside these Pokemon. I mean, think about it for a second. Area Zero is basically their home. Maybe all these Pokemon we were fighting were just trying to protect their home ground that they grew comfortable in. It would explain why there were so much Paradox Pokemon occupying the lab, and why the first 3 research bases had encounters. Pokemon probably took those places and considered it their home and were trying to defend their territory. This also would make sense considering why Miridion and Koridion left the lab earlier in the game and were trying to return to the lighthouse. It was trying to return to its original home after having a rough time in Area Zero. I mean, Averen was probably not its favorite person, but still, it was someone it could trust and someone that they knew could take care of them. Now here's the thing. The only person who would have thought of this and had sympathy for the Paradox Pokemon would be Penny. Penny has a strong heart for Pokemon and friends, and would probably be the only person who would be able to understand the stress of all these Pokemon. This is why she shares a strong connection to your legendary, and possibly be the reason why she would decide to return down to Area Zero. Penny felt a difference within the creator. So, that's a lot of information I just covered up there. But now that with all this info, I might be able to piece together some alternative story that I think could lead to a possible Gen 10 lead. So sit back and just listen to me try to add all these facts together to make my version of Gen 10. Starting in Galar, there probably will be some type of group of people who will decide to go after the Terra Crystals hidden in Area Zero. They'll do this after discovering the potential energy the crystals are capable of. However, when this group was descending into Area Zero, they caused massive destruction to Area Zero's environment because they were afraid of the dangerous monsters sent in this Scarlet Violet. So they took no chances at fighting them and just destroyed everything to ensure their safety. This caused many innocent Pokemon to be injured and scared of these people that they had to deal with. And eventually, these people find the abundance of Terra Crystals at the bottom of the crater. But while down there, they also do some investigation around the research bases to see what was inside. Doing this led them to learn what really happened down at the labs and how the time machine was built to bring Pokemon from different timelines to their current timeline. But that part about the time machine interested them a lot. The ability to bring Pokemon from different realities could not only help them make big changes from themselves, but the whole world entirely. So since no one was really down there to stop them, they decided to try to reactivate the machine and see if they could harness its power rather than take the crystals that they originally came from. However, destroying the environment and injuring the Pokemon down there will greatly cost them. And this is where I think Mewtwo will make its entrance into the crater. Mewtwo will notice the massive destruction caused down in Area Zero, and like any other protector, he will try to revive everything to the best of his ability and search for the people responsible for this mess. Now, back in up a day before Mewtwo enters the crater, Penny was trying her best to find her place within Team Star. However, she felt lost within the team. Her friends were trying to find ways to work with the Academy as well as improve Team Star, while she was just more supporting their decisions and just going along with things they made. Her friends weren't really helping her find a role in Team Star, and it all just seemed confusing to determine what she would do within the team. So later one night, she decides to get away from everything for a while and decides to revisit Area Zero. She knew it was crazy to even think of going back down there herself. But still, something about Area Zero made her feel as if she missed something, or someone down there. So she decides to break the rules again to revisit Area Zero and find answers to her troubles within Team Star. Now when Penny returns to Area Zero, she begins to feel a difference within the creator. For her, everything seemed more quiet and empty. This didn't make any sense to her because the last time she was in Area Zero, there were many Pokemon roaming around everywhere. But now looking into Area Zero's depths, it's clear that it's not its original state. So Penny gets curious and decides to sneak around to look for where all the Pokemon went. And one of the places she decides to look was in the research lab in the center of Area Zero. However, she seemed not to be able to find any Pokemon and decided to just leave. But when she was about to leave, she heard someone outside the lab. She didn't want to get in trouble again by another worker, so she tried to avert them by taking the elevator down to the time machine. However, this was a mistake because there were more people doing work down there in the time machine. This leads her to be captured by the Galar people in the lab. When being kidnapped, she learns what these people were trying to achieve and tries to convince them to stop trying to deactivate the machine. But this didn't work, and they just kept working on the machine running multiple tests. And then, out of nowhere, Mewtwo shows up. And without any hesitation, he immediately starts destroying everything, trying to stop the time machine from reopening. However, the time machine never stopped. The machine began to have gone under some sort of malfunction and began inhaling everything inside the room. Everything was sucked into the portal, and it revealed a new world. A world where I believe a new adventure awaits that will link the two dimensions together. So within all I've said, that's pretty much my whole entire thoughts on the possibilities of Gen 10. I know people might not really believe in a theory like this, but this theory isn't just something I made entirely off my thoughts. You see, my theory manages to connect things from Galar, Paldea, and even the Hisui region, which is funny since they're all mentioned within Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And also, some of my past theories I've made on Penny can also play a part in a twisted mind along with the story. You see, Pokemon's been keeping many secrets about Penny within Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Things about her personality and who she really is deep down as a person. And with this, I believe these secrets can be used to improve her character and add more to who she really is as a person. And let's of course not forget about the chances of Shadow Mewtwo showing up. For me, Shadow Mewtwo has always been a unique type of Pokemon to fight, and I think it would be awesome if Pokemon brought it into a real Pokemon game for the first time. Because like I said earlier, the crystals can make many changes to Pokemon, yet we hardly know the possibilities that they are capable of creating. In fact, the crystals in Area Zero might be the only chance to bring them into an official Pokemon game. So if they want to bring Shadow Mewtwo back, this is their last chance to do it. And that's pretty much all I have to say for my Gen 10 theory. It could happen, it probably won't, but it's definitely something that can become real. So, before I go, I want to say one last fact, which is the key that was used to stop Shadow Mewtwo in Pokemon Tournament was actually, in fact, shaped like a star. And the cracks, after Mewtwo was saved, looked like a lot like the slices between Team Star's symbol in Scarlet and Violet. It's not exact, but it makes me think if this thing could happen between the two. But overall, that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this theory, and if you want a few more facts about Penny, check my playlist. Thank you for watching.